Welcome back. Now, the Ghana Anti-Corruption Coalition is questioning why reports of the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament are kept from the public. The coalition says the public's inability to access these reports is a hindrance to the fight against corruption. Hanodame has more.
The Public Accounts Committee every year scrutinizes officers from various assemblies on their use of state and financial resources. They do this in the full glare of the public, but their report is hardly made available. Most of the recurring issues are cash irregularities, non-compliance by officers, lack of political will to sanction culpable officers, and poor record keeping by the MMDAs. According to the Ghana Anti-Corruption Coalition, the reports are not available or accessible. At a launch of the PAC sittings in Accra on Thursday, researcher and consultant for the committee, Dr. Patrick Osei-Kufuor, explained the impact is largely felt by the MMDAs, which do not know where they go wrong to fix it.
This report sought to track the implementation of the Public Accounts Committee recommendations, and we realize that majority of MMDs, that's metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies, have not implemented the PAC recommendations, and we are of the view that they also don't have the PAC reports. That is a huge gap. So we need the PAC reports, or the reports by the Public Accounts Committee, to enable the MMDAs also through their RX to do a follow-up. So once you don't have the PAC reports, then the MMDAs may not be doing the follow-up. And that is the main finding, and that's the key message we are telling Parliament to, as quickly as possible, produce the PAC reports on their sittings.
And this is the 2014 report?
No. We to be sure that they've implemented the PAC reports, we took 2005, 2007, based on the assumption that within that period they will have implemented the PAC reports. And you can see that within 8 years, the assemblies have not followed up on these PAC recommendations, and that's a problem for all of us in terms of public financial management. We need to get Parliament to produce reports out of its sittings to enable all stakeholders to do whatever is expected of them by law.
Chair of the Civil Society Organization Platform on the IMF, Joseph Winful, was of the view if the reports of the sitting are not made public, they may as well stop doing so.
The whole process is not acceptable. Here you are charged with the responsibility of reviewing public funds, and then you come up with a report. You've got to even ensure that the recipient, MMDAs, not only respond to the report, but after getting it, respond to the report within a specified time. And anyone going contrary to that should be punished. It's as simple as that. You just don't play with public funds. You don't do that.
So have you found out why the PAC reports are not being made easily available?
Well, this is the first time I'm hearing about it, and it's shocking because I do not expect responsible officials to be telling me this, because it's not admissible in the private sector. In the private sector, you're dealing with people's funds. In the public sector, you're dealing with citizens' funds. So it's almost the same. So why should one be different from the other? If they are not going to be effective, if they are not going to be meaningful, if they are not going to serve the public interest, then what use is it?
Hannah Odame's report for Joy News.
The committee set up to probe allegations of corruption against some officials of the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation is expected to present its findings today. The committee was set up after a Joy News investigation uncovered alleged payment of kickbacks in connection with the organization of fun parks for the 2014 Football World Cup. A man on the beat, Manasseh Azuri, joins us on the phone lines now for some more. Hello, Manasseh. Manasseh, good morning.
Good morning.
So, Manasseh, can you give us the background to this case once more?
Okay, to be very brief, what happened was we discovered that there were some allegations of payment of kickbacks to some officials. One, the then Minister of Youth and Sports, Elvis Efiankra, the World Cup Committee, and then the GMPC. And so what we did was to follow up. We first found vouchers, internal payment vouchers from Evolution International, addressing or ordering the pay 100,000 Ghana cedis to Elvis, 100,000 Ghana cedis to the committee, and also 80,000 Ghana cedis to the GNPC. We later discovered that these funds were actually withdrawn from the account of evolution, and our information was that 100,000 Ghana cedis was given to Freda, who is the CEO of the organization, to be given to Mr. Elvis Ankra. Another 100,000 was given to him to be given to the World Cup committee, according to our sources. And we also told that the 80,000 Ghana cedis was given to the accountants of evolution to pay into the account of one Samuel Ledo, who is the chief procurement staff of the GNPC. And we managed to get hold of his account details and realized that on the 12th of June 2014, the money was withdrawn from evolution, and on that same day, the money was paid into Samuel Ledo's account. When I followed up to him, he denied knowing anybody ever paid such money. So I produced evidence of his account, and indeed he admitted that he received that money in his account from the accountant of evolution, one Alfred Paddy. And I asked him why he got that payment, what work he had done. He said he had a private deal with him, but he was not prepared to tell me what it was. So basically, that is the story.
Okay, so on the back of that, a committee was formed to actually look into this. You appeared before that particular committee. What did you tell them?
Yes, when I appeared, they asked me about all these details, and I told them, and they also sought to find out if I had any documents. So I produced the batches and the documents I had, the Evolution International bank statement to show the withdrawal of the money. I also gave them the, the audio recording I had with Samuel Ledo. Hello?
Yes, Manasseh. Yes, I heard you there. So now the report is to be presented today. Now, do you know what this report will say?
Well, I cannot say, but my sources are the...
Hello, Manasseh.
So the management decide otherwise. What they say is that for now they cannot say whether the report will even be made public because they are not obliged to make the report public because it's an internal investigation, and so they are under no obligation to publish it.
Okay.
If management so decides that it should be made public, then in the coming days it will be made public. But I'm told today it will be given to the CEO of GNPC.
Okay, so on that note, just before you go, so it will be given to the chief executive of the GNPC. What happens then? What is he to do with that report?
My sources say that the chief executive will now meet with the board of GNPC, and they will discuss whatever actions to take and perhaps whether to make it public or not. But for now, no one knows whether this report will ever be made public or not.
Manasseh Azuri, thank you so much for your time on Joy News Desk this morning. Still on the GNPC, headline sponsor of the Black Stars GNPC is set to implement the finding of an internal investigation into the alleged receipt of a kickback by one of its officials from the committee which organized the participation of fans at the Brazil 2014 World Cup. GNPC's chief procurement officer was named in a Joy News investigative report to have received an alleged 80,000 Ghana cedis kickback from Evolution International. The CEO of GNPC, Alex Mo, tells Joy Sports that his outfit would work towards implementing all recommendations that will be made by the internal report, which will be ready today.
I think the national team is going to qualify for the next Africa Cup and most likely will go to the finals again. We have a good team, we have a good crop of players, we have good management, we have a new coach, which I think the players are listening to and getting accustomed to his ways. I think GFA also have put a few things in place to ensure that there's a conducive atmosphere in the camp. So for us, sponsoring the Black Stars is not an option. We are going to sponsor the Black Stars, and we're going to stick with our agreement with GFA, paying the coaches' salaries, and also funding the games that lead towards the qualifications of Africa Cup and the World Cup.
Now, Communications Coordinator of the Council for Technical and Vocational Training, COTVIT, George Ferguson Lang, has blamed training institutions and industries for the growing unemployed graduates in the country. According to him, the lack of cooperation between industry and training institutions leaves the youth ignorant about the opportunities on the job market. He was speaking on the AM show today.
The training institutions are working closely with industry. Then what we would have is a situation where they don't just train, but they know what industry needs at every particular time. So they know that there's a gap in the manufacturing sector for this particular set of skills. You align your courses to plug that gap. But as it is today, most institutions are just training.
Mentioned that the choice of academic programs also plays a key role in a graduate's chances of gaining employment.
Lots of young people go into our tertiary institutions and they choose their courses for various reasons. Because another colleague, an elder colleague is doing marketing, or because their parents want them to do a particular course, or because they have the perception that a particular course is prestigious or lucrative. Those are not the reasons why you choose a program. First of all, you need to think about your own competencies. What are you good at? What do you enjoy doing? What do you have a passion for? That is one. Two, we also need to look at the availability of jobs in that area.
You should look at it before you enter.
Yes, you need to. Before you choose a program, you need to look at these things.
Let's move on to some other stories now. And the Ghana Water Company has restored water supply to 3 public institutions in Kumasi after it disconnected them yesterday for non-payment of bills. Ohim Interior is a reporter following the report and joins us now for some updates. Hello, Ohim.
Hello.
Can you confirm that these institutions have water running in their pipes now?
Unfortunately, the institutions are yet to see water running in their pipes. This is due to the fact that yesterday the Ghana Water Company, 3 days ago, announced a scheduled maintenance works at the Barakase Dam, meaning that the whole of yesterday they will use the full day. And my checks at the institutions this morning indicate that though water has been restored, the taps are yet to flow. So that is how come they don't have water through their taps now.
Okay, so if I understand you rightly, the taps are not flowing not because of the debt, but it's because of a scheduled maintenance work.
Yes.
Okay. Has there been any reaction from, say, students or authorities of these institutions as to this particular development?
Unfortunately, the school university authorities are yet to respond. I have been making efforts to speak to, for instance, the University Relations Office, but the information I speak is that the university authorities probably will meet today and discuss the matter, after which they will respond officially. So they are yet to respond, and the Kumasi Polytechnic too, they have not also responded to the issue.
I see. Let's focus on, say, the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology for now. And we are told they owe about 6 million Ghana cedis. Now, do we know how come they ended up owing so much?
Yes, what I know as far as this issue is concerned is that on February 26th, the Ministry of Finance, in a letter signed by the Chief Director, retired Tama, said that all government agencies and departments henceforth would have to pay their utility bills. So after that particular letter, the Ghana Water Company, I'm told, had a series of meetings with the University of Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology to ask them to make amends and pay for their utility bills beginning January 2014. So the 6 million, as you see, is an accumulation of all the monthly bills beginning January 2014 till December 2014. So the university, according to Ghana Water Company, reneged on efforts despite series of meetings, letters, and reminders asking them to make amends and pay. So that is how come they've accumulated 6 million Ghana cedis a bill.
I see. Can you tell us whether or not it is possible, well, from where you stand, and based on the fact that you probably have gathered some information, does the school or the institution have the capacity to pay up these debts? Do they have the money to settle these debts?
Yes, for more indications, I think the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, they have the capacity to pay the bill, because according to the information I picked from some of their lecturers, the lecturers at the end of every month are deducted as source utility bills, including water. So it means that the university authorities have been, on behalf of, for instance, lecturers, deducting utility bills, water bills, which should have been paid to the Ghana Water Company. But for a year now, it has not been paid, the same as other public institutions that were affected. So the question that they ask is that, yes, how come the authorities have not paid the bills on their behalf? So for them, they think that is the right thing for Ghana Water Company to do. But in a nutshell, it's also affecting life on campus, and that is how they describe the situation.
Ohiminteria, thank you so much for that update from Kumasi. And Ohiminteria was our reporter on the ground, and we've been trying to get through to the Ghana Water Company to speak on this particular issue. In fact, they did agree to speak to it, but for some reason they are not picking their lines. So we'll get back to this story. That is, if we get the response from the Ghana Water Company, we'll get back to the story. But for now, we're taking a quick break. We'll be back.